Hi, I'm Dave Koch, and today we're going to discuss what a real estate photographer is and what a real estate photographer does. You may already have a couple of preconceived notions, and those may be correct. They may not. But I wanted to give you my feel on what a real estate photographer is. Before I do that, I kind of want to go back in time a little bit to back when I was in TV news photography. First off, yes, it was a blast. I had so much fun. I'm very happy again with where I'm at, with the people I'm working with, and I feel extremely lucky to be where I am. That said, let's go back a couple of years to when I was working in television, and this would have been in Tucson, Arizona, KOLD. And one thing about TV news, you kind of have community gear, at least at the station level. Basically, the station has gear and you use it to do your job. Generally, photographers gravitate to specific gear and it sort of becomes theirs, although there is some switching out when a camera needs to be worked on or something like that. We had this new photographer come on board and he was a real hot shot and he thought he was, just the shits. He came in one day as both he and I were loading out, and he was in a really bad mood, and he said something about you know he was just grumbling. That's it. And I said, "What's the matter?" And he goes, "Well, how am I supposed to do good work with when I have this shitty gear?" And I forgot exactly what it was. He had a Thompson or something, but and I go, "Well, we all work with that gear at some point or another." He goes, "Yeah, but you just got an Emmy nomination," and that was true. I had just been nominated for an Emmy, and it hit me that the story that I had shot for that Emmy nomination, I'd been using his gear. My point here is, and I hope this doesn't sound too vain because it's not intended to. The point is, it's not about the gear. It's really about what you do with the gear. Your job is not to take pretty pictures. It's to sell properties. So when you get in there, it's all well and good if you take pretty pictures, but your primary purpose is to sell properties. So when you go in to a home, the first thing I like to do is a complete walk around. And this is for a couple of reasons. It familiarizes me with the house and the layout. It's a good time, and this is totally true. And it almost happened like 2 weeks ago. I almost missed a basement. But that walk around, especially if you're doing it with either the realtor or the homeowner, is a great place for you to find all the hidden things in the house. And if you're smart and you listen, the homeowner or the realtor will tell you what's special about the house. They'll say, the owner just put in this new washer and dryer or this new granite countertop or things like that. Just a little tip, always shoot those because that's the realtor telling you, I want to see these in the pictures. This is what I think a selling point is. I always will ask a homeowner what their favorite part of the house is, where they get up in the morning and have their morning coffee at, or, is there a view that you especially like, or something like that. And then I try and shoot that. These are all things that are going to help personalize the house. Another thing I learned on the walkthrough is I learned where the sun is and where it's coming through. I generally like to shoot a house with the living room first, the kitchen second, the dining room third, family room next, master bed, master bath, and then all the sub bedrooms, generally in that order. But if I walk through a house and all of a sudden there's just incredible light streaming through a window into a dining room, I'll shoot that first while I can. And then I'll try and guess where the sun is going to go next and try and chase the sun around. So that's something you might want to do. But here's the last really important reason to do a good, thorough walk around. And that is to look for the areas where your own eyes spark up, where you go, oh, that's cool, or oh, that's nice. It doesn't have to be something the realtor tells you or the homeowner tells you. Trust your own reaction. When you get excited when you see an angle, that's what's going to set that house apart. And that's what's going to really stand out on the MLS. So definitely listen to your own instincts and shoot those things, because that's really going to make that house stand out. Real estate photography and architectural photography is an extension of that, has its own set of rules that are unique to real estate and architectural photography. There are things that you don't even consider in landscape photography or wedding photography. On the upside, if you're an ex-wedding photographer, for instance, you will never ever have to deal with bridezilla. And I think that's a plus. But you also have to do things like leveling your camera and having a straight horizon, a straight, flat horizon. That's not something you have to deal with wedding, portrait, landscape, anything like that. Color balance also extremely important, not so much in a lot of other types of photography. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't think you can just walk in and say, oh, I've got photographic experience, I'm going to just walk into this. It's going to be easier for you. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a lot easier for you. But there's a whole new set of rules you're going to have to learn as a real estate photographer. You have to find something that's going to make you stand out. Be that price, be that quality, be that your lighting style, be that the way you work with realtors, something that makes you a go-to photographer. Spend some time thinking about that. And you may end up thinking it's one thing and finding out it's something else completely different. Listen to your clients when they say, you know why I like you? It's because you're always on time. You know what? Make that your differentiation point. You are always on time. Do something and stress it to make yourself stand out in a field. Also, you should develop a niche. You may not be able to do that immediately. You may just be shooting anything and everything you can possibly get. And that's fine. 2, 3, 4 years, you may just be doing that. You may be lucky to just be doing that. But after a while, you start to, especially with experience, you start to see the sorts of things that you want to shoot. And then that's where you should make your niche. You should look for more of those sorts of shoots. Spend your time on them, be really good at them, and then start marketing them. It's the photographer that makes the image, not the camera. We don't praise chefs for the great pans that they use. We don't praise photographers for the cameras that they use. It's all about the photographer, and that's super important. The other thing to remember is that you're there to sell properties, not to show off your photographic skills. There's kind of a fine balance there, but I think you can find that balance and slide in there, show off your skills, and still show off the property well. That's where you need to be, at least in my opinion. There are other photographers who have different business models. This is mine. The next episode is probably the most boring. It's about pre-planning and researching your market and your business before you even open it. It's super important though. So even though you may go, I don't want to do this, it's something you really need to spend some time looking at and doing. In fact, you'll probably continue doing this through your whole career. So get started now on it. And as my photographer tip of the day, the best investment you can make is not in gear, it's in your own education. The more you teach yourself, the more you learn, the better you become as a photographer. And that's something you don't get from upgrading your camera every year. So there you go. Did you get something out of this? I hope so. I'd like to teach you even more. I have a full version of this workshop video and many other episodes on my website. Link in the description below. As I end every segment, I do hope your next shoot is your best shoot.